If your brand belongs in the heart of the yachting world, this is where it happens. Yachting International Radio reaches over 1 million yachting professionals and enthusiasts every month, with 77 million impressions, 220,000 social followers, and 74,000 podcast subscribers. Our hosts are insiders, crew, captains, CEOs, trusted voices shaping the industry. This is targeted, high-impact advertising in a luxury niche. Visit yachtinginternationalradio.com/advertise. Your audience is already listening.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Rich as Fuck podcast, the show where we talk about money, life, investing, and all things yachting. Today, I have the honor of sitting down with Emery. Most of you will know her as That Yachty Girl, I believe, is your labels. Emery is a pretty friendly face in the industry. She makes really funny yet relatable raw content about yachties, and she's recently launched a really exciting venture in Moor Yacht Crew, which kind of gives a new spin on recruitment. Really can't wait to dig into things today. And then to all our listeners, just remember, the show is not financial advice. Stop listening to everything I say. And Emery, welcome. Happy Sunday.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. How are you doing?
Awesome, thank you. Gorgeous day in San Diego. How about you?
Equally as gorgeous in Fort Lauderdale, but that's usually how it is.
Nice. And are you finding yourself in a yacht period or something?
Yeah, we're wrapping up here soon, actually, very soon. We leave Wednesday to start winter season. We have a Bahamas charter. The boat is trashed as per usual for shipyard period. So I have some teak to start doing tomorrow, and that'll be fun.
Okay, epic. And we obviously see your videos and stuff pretty frequently, but what is your actual role on board?
Yeah, I'm a deck stew. Yeah, throughout my career, I've really kind of gone up and down. I went up to second stew, and I really liked that. But after that, I thought I never saw a career as a chief stew. So then I thought, oh, fuck it. Why don't I just, go on deck? Let's see what that's all about. And I had some deck experience, but then this boat really launched me into a lot more heavy duty on deck. And I love it. It's so fun. It's a fun position.
Yeah, it's cool. The deck stew position is always a tricky one. I sometimes feel sorry for the crew member in that role because they kind of get pulled between both departments. And if you have a HOD on deck and a HOD on interior that don't necessarily see eye to eye, then you are kind of like the child in a divorce.
Yeah, that's such a good way to put it.
Yeah, I know that because we were in a situation like that, and that's exactly what the deck stew said to us. She's like, I feel like when my parents got divorced, and we were like, okay, we got to go back to the drawing board. We're like, okay, we got to decide when is she working in which department, and then just give her some grace because it's tough. It's also not, I guess it's not always easy to switch on and off. Like you're all sweaty from being outside, and now you have to come inside and be all gorgeous with your tray.
You absolutely just pinged a new content idea in my head. That is so true. I got to tell you, when we're on anchor and I'm coming back from pulling anchor and my hair is like those chickens that have those massive headpieces. And then I'm literally going down and serving a cocktail with my sweat. I'm like, can I get you anything else? And I'm just oh, it's disgusting. It's awful. That's a new content idea. I'm going to do that 100%.
Good. Happy to help. Yeah, you should start using the cold towels for yourself. You're like, fuck you, dude. You haven't done anything today. This is not for you.
Start? Oh my God. I've been doing that for years. Years. Are you kidding me? They don't use one. I'm like, thank God.
That's funny. So tell me a bit about your background prior to yachting and what made you shape to take the bold move of stepping on board.
This is good. This is a good question. So background, I grew up over on the West Coast of the United States, over in Seattle. For my people who are from Seattle, I'm not actually from Seattle. Calm down. I'm from Gig Harbor. People like to make that difference. And I grew up, doing sports. We did some light boat stuff, wakeboarding, inner tubing, but I never even knew about this career. And it wasn't until my senior year of college, we had a couple come and stay on our property with just, a little rental property by our house. And it was a guy that was from Gig Harbor And there was a gal from South Africa who was a chief stew.
I think I
And
know who you're talking about.
do you?
I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, she actually started talking to my mom a lot about what she did. And we were obviously fawning all over ourselves because she had a beautiful accent. We were like, oh my God, you're so exotic. Where are you from? And she told us what she did. And my mom just told her, don't tell my kids about this. I have an older sister. And she said, don't tell my kids about this because they would do this in a heartbeat. And she came to her senses and we finally figured out what courses we need. I did right off the bat, went and got my SCCW, got my ENG1. And within a week, I was working on my first boat out of Seattle and I was hooked. It was so much fun. So yeah, I love to tell South Africans that a South African got me into it.
It's so funny full circle because this very person I have known for many years.
Yeah.
And it worked out that she got your sister to come be my chief steer. So
Yeah, there's a lot of interconnection here.
for sure. And yeah, it's everyone has their own origin stories, but most of us, the moment we arrive here, we're like, oh, okay, this is sick. This is what I'm going to be doing in my 20s and potentially beyond, because it's pretty unmatched in terms of life experience, opportunities. Me, that gives a lot of fucks about money, obviously likes the money.
Yeah.
But this show is also, I started this show to help people not just spend it, but actually allocate it in ways where if you do realize that your hourglass is running out on your yachting career, you have the backup plan. So we'll tap into that a bit later. But since you've been in the game for a little bit, what do you think outsiders misunderstand most about the yachting industry?
Okay, I have two things to answer for this. The first one is pretty basic, that it's just one big vacation. And truthfully, I thought that too when I was first getting into it. It's so easy to hear them say, oh, I work on a yacht, and then, here's where I've traveled to. And you're just thinking, wow, that's incredible. You get to travel just on the yacht. And then once you get into dock and you just get to go around and like hang out and maybe do a few like trips here and there. And then I feel like that's where a lot of the greenies get absolutely bombarded and quit very early on, is because, well, this isn't the vacation that I thought it was going to be. I actually have to work. So that one's said over and over again. That is one of the biggest ones. But then I think the second one is that we all work on ferry boats.
That's a good one.
That is one that I've been asked time and time again. And that are cruise ships. And they just never understand that it's someone's actual just personal multi-million-dollar toy that we have to do a little bit more than, shuttle people on and off from destination to destination.
Those are common trends for sure. I've experienced that as well.
Yeah.
So besides what you already answered, what belief did you have starting out that turned out to be totally wrong once you stepped on board, besides the hardworking aspect?
Yeah, I would say hurricanes are not as big of an issue as I thought they would be. There's actually, things that help you figure out if there's going to be a hurricane or not, and that you're going to, leave the dock or not. That and how little personal time you have, especially on the bigger boats. I started off on smaller yachts, and that was nice because I usually would end up with my own cabin. But then the bigger you go, obviously, you're getting cabin mates. And the little personal time that you have is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
It's something that you really have to prioritize. And if you don't, you just get so overstimulated and you kind of start lashing out, or you just do stuff that you wouldn't normally do. I feel like that's a big one.
Yeah, that's very true. And a lot of people, I think that's when the deal breaker comes in, is when you realize, okay, I was so excited to get my first permanent gig. Now I step on board. I started on big boats, and then you're like, we're 4 or 6 people in a cabin and like 8 or 10 guys sharing a bathroom. And you're like, okay, this is back to boarding school.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's a lot. So like for me, it never really bothered me because that's kind of the way I grew up, always on sport trips and tours and being in boarding school, whatever. But you see people come in there that was used to having a big room in their mom's house, and now you're like, And no one gives a shit about your break time or your nap time. It's savage. The
No.
doors get
Yeah.
slammed. The people
Everyone
stomp.
is so like run down after charter, and you're sitting
Yeah.
there saying, I'm tired, and people just want to like kill you. They just want to like beat you up, lock in your couch. Yeah, no, it's funny. And I think it definitely builds some character. If people can push past that point, it is worth it. There's some paths that you have to carve out for yourself and
Yeah.
figure out what's your limit. You know, how do you take care of truthfully your mental health in that aspect?
Yeah, that's a very good point. And you only really realize it. I've been in the industry for 7 years and have been very active, never really took any long breaks in between. And now it's my first time living land-based in a sense, still working on yachts, but living land-based. And the appreciation you get from being able to unpack your suitcase,
Yeah.
unmatched.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh my God. Actually unpacking it and like putting it on the shelves. Like,
Yes.
God, luxury.
You're like, wow, what do you mean I have hanging space for more than 3 garments?
Yeah.
I'm rich now.
Closet, yeah. The closet space is just a deal breaker right there.
Yeah, it's diabolical. Okay, so now I want to pivot to money slightly, as the show is called the Rich as Fuck Podcast.
Yeah.
And to the network that requested a name change, it's not happening. I like this name. I think yachties have a money problem or an identity problem when it comes to spending your hard-earned.
I'm gonna be honest. When I saw this question, I was going back and forth. I was like, no, this is definitely the answer. Wait, no, this is the answer. And that's, God, I would have to say, honestly, probably a little bit of an identity problem, because we work with these multi-million billionaires and their friends and these people who can afford, to spend on frivolous stuff, where it's not as big of a deal for them, but it is a huge deal for us, just because, we have a lot of that cash from charter. And then they say, damn, let's go, shopping at Louis Vuitton. Let's go buy some bottles in the club. Let's buy, a table at the club. And they do that consistently, acting like, the guests and the owners that they're working for. And that's probably the biggest thing that I've seen, is just the frivolous spending on things that aren't going to make you money. It's not a good investment. And I am 100% saying this from my own experience, because I absolutely, got into that, especially in the first couple of years. I've never had that wad of cash in my hand before. And I'm like, bathing suits and this and maybe this bag. And after a while, when my cabin got absolutely socked in with stuff, I was like, this is so silly. I was like, I'm being so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like it would definitely be an identity, problem.
Yeah, that's probably the most common answer I get on that question. And I'm really like making it my life's mission to, like, it's one thing identifying the problem, but then we have to solve it, right? And I don't think yachties are to blame, because firstly, America, the UK, Aussies, South Africa, all of us, there's a big gap in our education in terms of why the fuck do they teach me how to calculate the square root of a parallelogram, but they don't show you anything about personal finance or managing your taxes or even like setting up a budget. And when you then put, yachties are often young when they start, like 19, 20, 21. If you then dump a 20-year-old with a big wad of cash, as you mentioned, into the real world, and you are always in these expensive ports and these beautiful places that are already charging things at a premium, they just simply don't have the tools to deal with this newfound wealth or riches. And because you see how much your boss or the charter guests or whatever spend on frivolous things, you kind of justify whatever you purchase on. But you don't realize that the percentage of money you spend on a Louis Vuitton bag compared to what your salary is would be the equivalent of this rich dude buying a new yacht every year. So if we see them spending $1 million on a weekend, you're like, holy fuck, this dude just dropped a bar on the weekend. You're like, yeah, but he's a billionaire. He's got 1,000 more of those. So the money like people really struggle to wrap their heads around large numbers. And one of my favorite, like little personal finance investing fun facts I like to use is to show people the difference between a millionaire and a billionaire. So we work for
Oh,
both.
yeah.
Okay. If you equate those dollars into time, 1 million seconds is 13 days. 1 billion seconds is 32 years. Okay. So then
So
you're like,
outrageous.
oh wow, we should need to stop saying those things in the same breath. And then thus you should stop pretending that you can justify buying something. Now, before I sound like a complete miser and a cheapskate, I do understand that certain people have certain aspects and areas in their life that they really value. So if you are someone that really loves bathing suits and you work hard for your money, buy the fucking bathing suit. But then you can't go after the bathing suit and go buy the matching dress and the shoes and then go for the fancy dinner in Monaco. Like
Yeah.
you need to identify areas where you get a lot of value and spend extravagantly in those areas, but then cut mercilessly on the stuff you don't care about. And that way you kind of treat yourself, but you still leave some room for you to invest your money into better things like income generating assets.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
long tangent, but you know what I mean.
It was well
Okay.
done. It was very well done.
I'm very passionate about the topic. Okay.
I like it.
What's the most unnecessary money flex you've seen among crew? You kind of
Ooh.
touched on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I would definitely say the designer brand stuff. And I don't want to say that and then obviously walk out with this vintage Dior bag that I have because I have done it. I have done it. I have. But that's why I'm saying it's the silliest, in my opinion. Like you said, some people really like that. And, but in this time in our lives, in 20 years old, 30 years old, I do find it very silly now. And I do have to give some credit to some of the crew that are on here. But we can dive into that when we talk about some investments and stuff.
Okay, epic. So now I want to pivot to personal brand. Okay, this is something
Okay.
I'm learning. This is something I'm learning about as I'm building up this venture of mine.
Uh-huh.
You clearly know how to do it. So, what helped you grow a personal brand in such a niche industry?
100% authentically being yourself. And I love that you started this podcast saying, I don't filter myself. I just talk how I talk. And people like that. And in this society, I feel like everyone's just with social media, everyone tries to just form into each other. But it's really the people that make it are just their own identity. And they're not trying to follow trends and they're not trying to do this or that. And that's really become a huge part of my personal brand is just I show, nitty gritty stuff, but then I also show what am I going to go and do off of the boat? What do I like to do off of the boat? And personality likes to, come through when you're just naturally just trying to video that. So I would definitely, yeah, it's brought me the last 5 years and has grown my audience because then people know me. And I truthfully am no different in person or on camera. And I feel like that's the best compliment that people give me because I don't want to act different on camera than in person. So definitely just being yourself, authentic self.
Yeah, that's a good observation. Authenticity is and kind of originality is really lacking, with
Yeah.
everyone's
Yeah.
polishing things too nicely. Like we polish
It
enough
is.
shit on board. You don't need to
Yeah.
polish your videos and make it
Yeah. Yeah.
pretty.
Yeah. You don't have to polish it. It makes you different. And that's what grabs people's attention. And that's
Mm.
what people want to watch and learn about is, oh, how does this person live on board? How does this person spend their days off? So it's carried me for the last 5 years. So obviously, I guess it works.
Yeah, it does. Epic, good work. How do you balance posting so publicly but staying professional on board? Because this industry is sometimes like pretty gnarly
Yeah.
on like the NDA things and we sell privacy. So how do you balance that?
Yeah, wholeheartedly, very honest. I have gotten fired for posting on a boat before. And my mistake was, and I do hold myself accountable, because when I joined, I told them that I do social media, and the captain told me, as long as you don't post the name, you're fine. So I stuck to that. And I would just really post professional stuff, sort of what I do here, what a day in my life. Well, the owners saw that. I did an article, and the article came out, and someone on their team found it, and they didn't like that. And I thought, because I had talked to Captain and he told me, just don't show the name, that I was doing my due diligence, and I absolutely was not. I 100% now go to the owners. If I am joining a boat, I go straight to them and I say, this is what I do. If you're comfortable with that, if you're not comfortable with that. And the boat that I work on now, I would hide the name. I've known this owner for a very long time, but he was so supportive of my social media. And it works out that the boat is also for charter. And so a couple years into me working on this boat, he came and said, why are you hiding the name? Like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, post the name, And so once I started doing that, there's time for, fun, silly, unprofessional stuff, but I also am the face for this boat. So trying to find the balance, it wasn't too hard, because we do keep things professional. We like to have fun, but we keep that separate. You know what I mean? If I am going out and having fun and drinking, I'm 28 years old, I like to go out. I'm not posting stuff about that. I'm not posting about how many, drinks we're having or this silliness, because that is a completely separate thing than what I bring onto this boat.
Got it. Okay, that's very cool. And all you got to do is ask. Like the worst that can happen is they say no. And then you're like, okay, either if you really want the gig, you reassess what you do in terms of social media, or if it's a
100%.
deal breaker and you still want to carry on your online presence, then you're like, okay, there's hundreds of other boats. I'll just go apply somewhere else. It's that simple.
100%. And boats are becoming more lax with it, especially charter boats. They want to put that social media out there. So more and more of these boats are coming out, and crew are allowed to post now. And it's a changing industry for sure. We're definitely in this transition of this newer generation coming in, kind of breaking things up a little bit. That has been traditionally a very conservative industry. So it's super fun to see. There is a professional way to go about it, and I, again, witnessed that firsthand.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just you are working and living on this vessel. So you have to find that balance, because I mean, there is stuff that you should not be posting.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, logic, like, you seem logical, but some people aren't. And you're like, obviously you can't be recording that. Like the missus is in the background sunbathing. Like, what are you doing?
Exactly. Yeah. Background stuff, all of that. You have to do your due diligence, and it's very important.
That's good point. So now I want to start talking about Moor. Okay. So what problem in the industry pushed you to start this new venture?
Yeah. Well, initially crew turnover, but then it got deeper than that. And that was brokers, yacht brokers, and crew members both telling me that they couldn't find each other. There was no good crew, or there was no good yacht programs. And it got to the point where I kind of took a step back and thought, I'm hearing so much from both sides of this issue. Certainly, there are so many people that bring different things to programs. And just because you found someone that fills the position, why did that not work out? They're obviously a chief stew. You were looking for a chief stew. Us in the industry all know that it takes a lot more than just filling the position for it to be a successful placement. So once I started thinking about that, I know that people have talked about personality, quizzes and stuff like that, trying to mesh crew and programs a little bit better. But then Hinge popped into my head. Then Tinder popped into my head. And I thought, well, people are finding their loves with these, matching sites. We could essentially transition that into the yachting industry, because we are on top of each other 24/7. And we need more than just let's fill the position. So the crew turnover obviously sparked that, idea, but then I went a little deeper and thought, well, why was the crew turnover so high? And 9 times out of 10, it was because people didn't fit with each other. Programs didn't fit with that. Crew didn't fit with that program. So once I got that idea into my head, I started running. I was like, let's do it. This is awesome. This is so cool. Then the features popped into my head, and so it definitely, the crew turnover is one of the highest.
And what would you say makes Moor, it's already very different in the sense that you don't just consider people's roles, you consider their interests, but what makes it genuinely different from the traditional crew agencies that we currently use to find crew members?
So we aren't an agency. We are a job board. And if you go and look at the job boards that are out there, especially from my experience, you have to open up your laptop. It's not super user friendly. It's a little outdated. It's giving like early 90s, maybe late 80s. And so the user interface is a huge difference with Moor. We wanted to make it, it is one of the funnest times in your yachting career, for me at least, is when you're looking for jobs, thinking, oh my God, would I match, am I going to fit in with that program? I love where they go and what they do, but are we going to mesh? And to bring that funness and that lightness back into that and showing pictures, what do you do as a chief stew? What kind of cocktails do you like to make? What kind of tablescape do you want to, and showing that within a social media type of feel, that is what makes us so different. It's so easy to use, and it draws you in. We have, the map that shows all of these different crew all over the world. We have a map that shows the boats that are all over, the programs that are all over the world. So it's also very user friendly on top of very practical and changing how we place crew.
Understood. Okay. And then you can still hear me, right? Even though I'm blurred.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'll come right back. So in a business lens, how are you approaching this, like in terms of monetization? Because you're obviously not just running Moor because you're a good person and want to change the world. You're also a savvy entrepreneur. And if you create something that adds value, and makes people's lives better, you should be able to reward from that. So how does that model work for you?
Yeah, so we wanted to make it free for both ends. So for crew, they sign up for free. And for job programs, they can post 2 job listings for free. Past that, if you're a broker or if you're on a big boat and it just does run, it goes through crew quite a bit. If you need more than 2, job listings, then we have a subscription format or a month-by-month payment plan. If you are a captain on board a vessel like Temptation and you lost a crew member right before a charter, there is an urgent hire. And that is another form of revenue, because we didn't want to force these captains, to have to pay a subscription just to get good crew. And I think, especially in this world, things are getting a little subscription heavy, and we just did not see that fitting in with Moor. So that's a form of revenue. Crew, if they would like to be spotlighted and put forward, once the captains and employers put these filters in, there is a spotlight feature that crew can buy if they would like. And then on top of that, we have soon to be ad placements. So this is in our next phase. And we have a lot of maritime businesses, already chomping at the bit to start advertising on Moor. And very delicately, though, I don't want to lose, obviously, the user, interface and stuff like that with the pop-ups and the flashing lights of ads.
It's a delicate balance. Yeah.
Oh, it is. So it's actually what we're designing right now for the ads is going to integrate really organically. And I'm super excited to get it out. We're just starting that process along with some other features. But yeah, so ad revenue as well.
Awesome. That's a very interesting business model. And I like that you go back to first principles and you're just like, why Why are we doing it the way we were? Why the
Mhm.
fuck? Why are people having to use Facebook?
Yeah,
You
bro.
know, like it's like our parents have taken that over years ago. Like that's not where we
Yeah.
dabble. We don't dabble there anymore.
The
Um,
only people, my only like friends that I know that go on Facebook are for like yacht jobs.
yeah.
I'm like, that's just, I don't, yeah, it's not
It's archaic. It's archaic, and it opens up the window for scammers. Like I hear more and more stories
totally.
about
Yeah.
people getting fleeced. And you obviously go through some like form of a rigorous filter or identification, or so do not just let any like scum onto the platform.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's a really cool model, and I'm excited to see where it goes. It's
Yeah.
and also hit your boy up for some advertising slots. You know.
Oh, heavens, yes. Oh, heavens. You're my first call.
Okay, sick. And then to finish off, a few quick and more personal questions. Biggest sacrifice that yachting has demanded from you?
The biggest sacrifice that yachting has demanded is my time with family, my time with friends, you know, not being able to go to funerals of loved ones. And I know that's a story for a lot of crew members. It's heavy. Yeah, and you don't really think about it too much when you're going through it. But now, 6 years later, I look back and I see, friends who have gotten together throughout the years or family who have gotten together throughout the years, and I'm not there. Time is a huge sacrifice. And you're making great memories and you're exploring and stuff. And I wouldn't trade that. And I don't have regrets about it, but people should be prepared that you're sacrificing a lot of your time.
Yeah, that's very true. That one hits hard. Definitely it's hard. And that's why it's so important that when you do commit to this and decide to do it, we've been in the industry pretty much the same time, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
Since you are sacrificing all your time, it's super important that you choose a place and a community and a program where your time
Yeah.
is worth spending. Because
Yeah.
I get a lot of greenies reaching out to me all the time, being like, hey, I'm on this boat. Like, I'm glad I've got this job and I appreciate the opportunity, but I'm fucking miserable. I don't have friends. You're like, leave.
Not worth it. It's
There's
not worth it.
this whole thing like when you start and they're like, yeah, longevity, you need 1 year on your CV. Blah, blah.
Oh,
You're like,
yeah. Give me a break.
absolute, utter bullshit. Life is
It's
too
bullshit.
short. Yachting is too short. If you're not
Yeah.
happy, leave. And
Yeah.
okay, some people quit too easily. Don't just leave the first time the captain tells you, hey, you didn't do a wipe down properly. Like,
Yeah.
don't be a
Yeah.
little bitch. But
Yeah.
like,
100%.
but if you know it doesn't serve you and it's not giving you joy and happiness, you're already missing Christmas. You're already skipping your birthday. You might as well be about people that you can at least tolerate, you know?
Yeah. 100%. That's a great point. I
Yeah.
also would just like to add to that another sacrifice is my sciatica.
Oh, wow. Shout out. And also, I think that runs in your family because your sister
No. Is she
is a-
going through some sciatic stuff?
she's going through some crippling back injuries, and I do like to call
Yeah.
her. I do like to refer to her as a grandma all the time, even though she's just a few months older. So
She probably loves that.
yeah.
She probably handles that really well.
But yeah, Emery, thank you so much. I really enjoyed our chat. I look very much forward to seeing where Moor is going. I'll be sure to attach sign up links or whatever you want in the show notes. And I get a feeling we're going to be doing this again.
I think so too. Thank you so much for having me on this awesome podcast. I was so excited to come on.
Awesome. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday and have a great week.